I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. Donald Trump gave what may be his most deranged and vile interview yet. He gave this interview to Tucker Carlson, who back on January 4th of 2021 wrote this in a series of text messages, which was exposed in Dominion's $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit against Fox. Tucker Carlson wrote the following: "We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait." And the Fox employee responds to him, "I want nothing more. It does feel very close. I imagine things will get nice starting around mid-February." And Tucker responded, "I hate him passionately. I blew up at Peter Navarro today in frustration. I actually like Peter, but I can't handle much more of this." But Tucker Carlson, in keeping with platforming more disinformation, brought Donald Trump onto his program, and Donald Trump just completely gave this utterly deranged interview. Let me show you some of the lowlights from this interview. So in this interview with Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump says that the biggest problem is not global warming that we face, but it is something called nuclear warming that no one's talking about. Play this clip of Donald Trump.
It melted the granite. If you look at that and multiply it times 500, that's what you're talking about. When I listen to people talk about global warming, that the ocean will rise in the next 300 years by 1/8 of an inch, and they talk about this is our problem. Our big problem is nuclear warming. I mean, nobody even talks about it. The environmentalists talk about all this nonsense in many cases. Look, I'm an environmentalist also, I guess, in my own way, because I've done a good job with the environment, but nobody talks about nuclear. The problem we have, the biggest problem we have in the whole world, it's not global warming, it's nuclear warming. And all it takes is one madman, and you're going to have a problem the likes of which the world has never seen.
And then Donald Trump says, actually, the biggest problem is not Russia, it's not China, it's not North Korea. He says it's America. He says it's the people within America who are actually the biggest threat right now. Play this clip.
I often say, they said to me the other day, one of your fellow journalists said, who's the biggest problem, sir? Is it China? Could it be Russia? Could it be North Korea? No, I said, the biggest problem is from within. It's these sick, radical people from within, because we can handle, if we're smart, we can handle Russia, China. I did. I took in billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No other president took in anything, and they respected me. He's the same thing, you know. I told him, you can't go into Taiwan. You can't do it. I won't tell you exactly what I said, but it was something that probably a lot of people wouldn't like if they heard it, but it was very tough. Don't go into Taiwan. If you do, we're going to have problems. Other than that, we're going to be great relationship. We're going to have a great relationship. And he said to me, when I said we're going to do something, if he goes in, no, you wouldn't do it. I'll do that. I swear I'll do that. And he didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. The same thing with Putin. I said I was going to do something really nasty if he goes into Ukraine. He said, no, you're not going to do that. I said, I will. And he didn't believe me either, but he believed me 10%. And the 10%, you never heard talk about going into Ukraine. You never heard talk about going into Taiwan until I was no longer there.
You know, and with Donald Trump, it is all projection, as Donald Trump is the biggest threat to the national security of the United States and, frankly, to the entire world. And here in the interview, Donald Trump calls the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, an American hero. Donald Trump calls him an idiot. Play this clip.
They said, sir, the tents are very hard to take out. I said, I want the tents. I want the tanks. I want the planes. I want everything. And a couple of them fought me on it, like Milley. He said, sir, I think it's cheaper to leave the equipment behind. I said, let me ask you, we have a plane that cost $100 million. It's sitting there. All it needs is a tank of gas, right? Give me a little jet fuel. We'll fly it to Pakistan or any place else, or we'll fly it directly home. You say it's cheaper to leave a $100 million plane. Sir, I think overall it's cheaper. These are idiots we're dealing with.
So after Donald Trump begins the interview by talking about nuclear warming and then says that the biggest problem to the world is Americans, and then calls the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, an idiot, then Donald Trump talks about the criminal charges brought against him in New York, and he says that they got him on a, quote, perfect non-disclosure agreement. He says that is how they got me. Play the clip.
Millions and millions of pages, and they get you on a non-disclosure agreement? I mean, big numbers, billions and billions of dollars, right? And they get you on a perfect non-disclosure agreement, or they get you on nothing. A friend of mine who's a big business guy said, you have to be the most honest guy in the world, because with all of those numbers that you have and those big numbers, they don't have anything.
And Donald Trump does this thing where he goes, it was a perfect call. It was a perfect non-disclosure agreement. They've gone through millions of my documents and they could get me on nothing else other than the perfect non-disclosure agreement. First off, what you're referring to is a crime of falsifying business records to cover up hush money payments to a porn star in connection with an election. And furthermore, the Attorney General of New York currently has a civil fraud lawsuit based on your fraudulent valuation of properties. And not only that, there are numerous other criminal investigations where you are still going to be criminally charged. A perfect non-disclosure agreement. I mean, this person is completely and utterly just a complete and utter maniac. Oh, and here talking about the criminal charges brought against him in Manhattan, you know, whenever he lies, whenever he talks, he lies. But he does this thing where he goes, you know, someone went up to me and said, sir, you're such a great person, sir. And here he tells this fake story about how when he went into the courthouse, when he was criminally arraigned, he said everybody there, they were all crying and saying, sir, 2024, sir. And everybody was crying and applauding him. Play this clip.
And I'll tell you, people were crying. People that work there, professionally work there, that have no problems putting in murderers, and they see everybody. It's tough place. And they were crying. They were actually crying. They said, I'm sorry. They'd say, 2024, sir, 2024. And tears are pouring down their eyes. I've never seen anything like those people are phenomenal. Those are your police.
Yep.
Those are the people that work at the courthouse. They're unbelievable people. Many of them were in tears or close to it. Many apologists were sorry, sir. We're sorry. They had to have me do certain things. They said, sir, I can't believe I have to ask you. I can't even believe that I have to ask you to do it. You could see. So in one sense, it was beautiful because they get it. In another sense, you know, it's nasty. I went to the Wharton School of Finance. They didn't teach me about that. That wasn't like
they didn't know about the arraignment part?
That wasn't, we didn't have a class on arraignment.
And now let's take a quick break to talk about our next partner, Rhone. If you're like me, you understand the pains of finding out what to wear. Let's face it, most clothes are uncomfortable or too tight or never actually the size that you really are, and not to mention the annoyance of trying to put together a good outfit. And when you finally do have a good fit, you can only wear it for a few hours before you have an important meeting or dinner, and then you have to change. Everyone wants to dress their best and look good at all times because, frankly, it's a confidence booster. So here's the deal. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention, and Rhone stepped up to the challenge. Rhone's commuter collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man. And here's why. Rhone helps you get ready for any occasion with the commuter collection, which offers the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Rhone commuter collection. Rhone's comfortable 4-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way, from your commute to work to your 18 holes of golf. It's time to feel confident without the hassle. With Rhone's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It's that easy. With the Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. And on top of that, Rhone is 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. I absolutely love Rhone. This has truly become my go-to commuter fit. We're on the move a lot. Whether it's jumping from meeting to meeting or catching a flight or an important dinner, the Roan commuter collection has never let me down. The versatility and overall comfort of the collection is undefeated. Even after I wear it all day, I still feel super fresh because of the Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. The commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/Meidas and use promo code Meidas to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/Meidas and use code Meidas. It's time to find your corner office. And now back to the video.
You know the expression, right? How do you know when a Trump is lying? It's when they open up their mouth. And speaking about opening up his mouth, here Donald Trump says, he just randomly just says words. So he goes, Russia, 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 Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. It was all a hoax. And he's like, Tucker, you know that. Here, play this clip.
Impeachment hoax number 2. Ukraine, 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 Russia, Russia, Russia. You knew the Russia, Russia, Russia. I got that whole term from you. Russia, Russia, Russia. You'd be screaming and it'd say, this guy's a comedian. But you remember that whole period of time.
Quite
Russia.
well.
It turned out to be a total fake.
And when Donald Trump does that, that's one of his, just ways that he just puts forward all of his crimes. And he thinks if he just says it over and over again, Russia, 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 Ukraine, 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 that people will actually buy into that. Sadly, on Fox, people like Tucker Carlson behind his back say, I hate him passionately, but because they are dangerous propagandists doing the work for Vladimir Putin. More on Vladimir Putin in just one moment, because Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson have a complete Putin propaganda fest. Shortly, Tucker Carlson platforms this complete and total disinformation for Donald Trump. And here, Donald Trump talks about, he goes, Saudi Arabia, great people. So just mind you, he's called the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of America an idiot. He says the biggest problem with America is from within, is Americans. But he's already applauded, get ready. He's about to applaud Saudi Arabia, and he's about to then applaud Kim Jong-un and President Xi and Vladimir Putin. Watch what he says about Saudi Arabia. Play this clip.
You take a look at Saudi Arabia, look at what happened. They're great people. They wanted to help us. He goes over and gets a fist pump. You know what a fist pump means? Don't shake my hand because your hand's dirty. That's what a fist bump is. They got it, and they were so insulted. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to shake your hand. Let's go fist pump.
And this interview is just so utterly humiliating for Tucker Carlson, yet he has no shame at all. Just watch like Tucker Carlson's face as he's doing this interview. And here Donald Trump brags about his relationship with Kim Jong-un. Remember, he called the chairman of America's Joint Chiefs of Staff an idiot. And now he's bragging about his relationship with Kim Jong-un and basically yells at Tucker for saying that, like, you caused Kim Jong-un to be upset at you and that caused me problems. Play this clip.
I did a good job. I did a great job with North Korea. Kim Jong-un, you went with me on a trip. You insulted him, which didn't make my life too easy, but that's okay. But you were there, one of the few. And it was it had to be one of the most incredible experiences for you.
For sure.
And then Trump begins to talk about how much he admires President Xi of China. And Trump goes, President Xi of China, he's so brilliant. This is how brilliant he is. You couldn't find anybody in Hollywood to play him. What are you talking about? Play this clip.
That's an unusual word. I said,
how smart is he? Could you tell?
Top of the line.
Top of the line.
Yeah, they're all top of the line. Our guy's not top of the line. Never was. These are top-of-the-line people at the top of their game. President Xi is a brilliant man. If you went all over Hollywood to look for somebody to play the role of President Xi, you couldn't find it. There's nobody like that. The look, the brain, the whole thing. We had a great relationship.
And here Donald Trump says, President Xi, he's all business. He doesn't even want to see a Broadway play. That's how smart he is. Play the clip.
We were going to have it was so organized. By them and by us, but by them. Very boom, boom, boom. Everything's like business, no games, They don't say, gee, how did the Yankees do last night? Oh, that was a wonderful. They don't care. They don't care about anything. I said, do you ever go to a Broadway play? I'll take you to one. Do you ever have plays like, do you ever go? No. I don't, no. This is business. These aren't game players, right? I like it. In a way I like it. You have no life, but that's what he likes.
Yeah.
Top of the line smart, top of the line.
And then Trump says, this may be politically incorrect, but I do have to say that President Xi's interpreter, she was very, very, very beautiful. Play this clip.
I dealt with President Xi. I was with him the whole weekend. He had an incredible, I'm not allowed to say it because it's very impolite and very politically incorrect, a beautiful female interpreter. She was very beautiful. Today, if you say it, they'll say, this is terrible. You're not allowed to say that. But she was very professional. She spoke every word for him.
So then after praising Saudi Arabia, Kim Jong-un, and President Xi, now he moves on to Vladimir Putin. He spreads Putin propaganda, says Putin is obliterating Ukraine, and then he basically cheers on Vladimir Putin to use nuclear weapons. Here, play this clip.
And when I watch all of the people talking about Ukraine and how's Ukraine doing, blah, 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 Russia's sitting back. First of all, Ukraine's being obliterated.
Yes.
Okay, let's not even talk nuclear. But let's say it wasn't. Let's say they were doing better than anticipated. If he decided to use his second form of destruction, which is nuclear, that's the end of that. You understand? And I know where you are in Ukraine, so I mean, you understand it better than most. Most people don't. Most people don't even talk about it. They don't talk about the fact that he has equal to the United States in nuclear capability and destruction. And so I watch all of this happening, and it's so sad.
And then Donald Trump concludes the interview by talking about how, he says there are two N-words. Just watch this clip, play it.
This was something you don't mention. I call it the N-word. You have two N-words. You don't mention either one of them. The nuclear word you don't mention because the power is so destructive.
Here's the thing. That individual that you just watched is not just a malignant narcissist, but perhaps the biggest malignant narcissist in the history of the world. Someone who is so completely unfit to be anywhere near a position of leadership. Someone who demonstrates and talks about how much he hates the United States of America. Yet that is an individual who the Republican Party, the modern day Republican Party, wants to lead this incredible country, wants to lead the United States of America. And folks, this is why people are leaving the Republican Party in droves. And that's why the Democratic Party, the pro-democracy party, is the Democratic Party. Do I agree with the Democratic Party? Do I agree with President Biden on every single issue? No. Is there disagreement? Yeah. But look, at the end of the day, the Democratic Party is normal. They are actually addressing issues. They take their job seriously. They truly love this country through their actions. They're trying to deliver things for the American people, like lowering prescription drug prices and delivering an affordable healthcare, making healthcare affordable and accessible to all. And they're focused on jobs and bringing jobs back from overseas here, increasing pay, better working conditions, equality, focusing on making sure a woman can control her body, focused on actually helping the United States military, focused on actually helping our military veterans as the MAGA Republicans fist bump each other when they try to enact policies that take away health care from veterans. Democrats are focused on protecting seniors and making sure Social Security is protected, making sure Medicare is protected. Like, Democrats are talking about issues and actually putting forward policies. On the other hand, you have the MAGA Republicans, the modern day Republican Party, which has become a cult, and they support whatever the heck that was that you just watched. All I know is that this isn't funny. Okay, this isn't like some joke. At the end of the day, Republicans want that deranged and sick and disgusting and vile criminal that you just watched. They want him to be making, again, life and death decisions over you, over your family, over your friends, over your neighbors, over your community, over your state, over your country, and over the world. I want that person nowhere near nuclear codes. I want that person nowhere near my family. I want that person nowhere near anybody I love. That individual that you just watched needs to be locked up in jail, a total deranged criminal. And I don't know how anybody can watch what you just saw and objectively view that as normal behavior. That is disgusting, weird, dangerous behavior. And we need to call out Trump's behavior. We need to call out Tucker Carlson's behavior, all the Fox propagandist behavior that tries to and continues to spread that each and every day. We are not standing for that nonsense, that dangerous filth. And we're going to call it out each and every day here at the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We are on our way to 1.5 million subscribers, so please hit the subscribe button. Also, you can check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We don't have outside investors, and so the way we grow this platform is through our Patreon. So if you want to join one of the memberships there, check out patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Wherever you get your audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast for free. Just search MeidasTouch podcast, whatever software you use for your audio podcast or whatever app you use for your audio podcast. All right, hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching this. I'm Ben Meiselas. Have a great day.
Love this video? Then you'll love the MeidasTouch podcast. Listen as my brothers and I break down the latest news and chat with top political leaders on the fastest growing pro-democracy podcast in the world. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Friday. Add the MeidasTouch podcast right now wherever you listen to your podcasts.